In 1942, the Japanese relocated all across the U.S. The government put out news feeds in front of every movie so that they could explain this to the general public. This is one of them. The news feed started off with a man explaining why the Japanese were interned and how they were interned. The reasons went through them being too close to naval bases and that fishermen and such had easy access to view ship movements. The word went out. The President Roosevelt, signed Executive Order 9066 that had all the Japanese move out of their homes and sign in with the government. The government tried to help them so that they could find new tenants to take over their farms or places or people to sell their homes to. Soon after, they were packed onto buses and taken to racetracks. At the racetracks, they were held there for a couple of days until they could finish building all of the Japanese internment camps. Once they were done with those, they were moved into the camps. What they left behind were thousands of broken down shops, abandoned farms, and empty houses. At the camp, their houses were confined spaces, their dinner table was a crowded cafeteria, and the food was not homemade. It was just the leftovers from the war. But not every Japanese stayed here. Many men had the opportunity to go and fight in the war for America, to prove their loyalty, to get out of the Japanese internment camps. They were put into their own regiments, the most famous the 442nd, which won countless medals. They were trained under the American Army, just like American soldiers. However, it was clear that they still were not American soldiers, and the video made this clear as well. In one scene when they were putting on gas masks, the narrator even said, "Everyone looks the same under a gas mask." While going into a Japanese internment camp was not optional, going into the army was. However, many young men felt that this was needed to happen so that they could show their loyalty. They fought for the U.S. and showed their loyalty. However, their conditions were more or less the same. They were still sleeping in small bunkers, they were still eating military food, and they were still generally disrespected. In the end, the only freedom from the Japanese internment camps was the freedom of war, which isn't much of a freedom at all. And even though they were eventually accepted back into society, even though the 442nd won numerous Medal of Honors, the effects of Japanese internment still affect us today. And they certainly still affected the Japanese returning from the Japanese internment camps.